You can have the coolest shots and the fanciest tools and workflows, but without this one crucial component, it all kind of feels a little hollow. And that, my friend, is the story. Sure, a cool shot can inspire you for a moment, but it doesn't really stay with you. You just go like, oh, that's awesome, and then move on. To create meaning, to have weight, and make like people feel something, you need the story. Hey you, welcome to the channel and to this first episode of the breakdown series on my Unreal Engine short film, The Craving. If you haven't watched the film, go back and watch it and then come back to here and we'll talk about it. I'll tell you all about it, how it was made, and hopefully we can all learn something together. This short film took me 2 years to make. It took too long, honestly. And no, I didn't make it like 24/7 during that time period. I had other stuff and my actual day job. I even lost the files, all the files, one time when my hard drive died. But I managed to get them back and get the project back on track, and it's been a lot. Is it perfect? No. Is it done? Yes. Yes, it is. So in this episode, we'll talk about the story itself and the inspiration for it and how it came about. I've always loved a good mystery, and I've become a huge fan of Robert Eggers, but his work with The Witch and The Lighthouse, those were like big inspirations for this. In the story, we follow a man, this old lonely fisherman who lives on this very small barren island, which is like technically maybe not even very realistic, but it all serves as a sort of like symbolic thing. It goes well with the tagline of the classic line of "No man is an island," but I just changed it a little bit to fit the story a little better, like no one is an island. And yet it very much revolves around the theme of needing something from someone else. And him being lonely, he craves for that connection with someone else, where she, being a mythical sea creature, craves for nourishment, sustenance, food. By way of the siren lore, she kind of like tempts him. Like he has to make the first move. And eventually he does. And it proves to be fatal for him. But there are a few things that are open to a more sinister interpretation. Like the grave, for instance. The grave is very hastily put together. And Fisher doesn't seem very emotional about it. He just sort of goes like, which can mean many things. Meanwhile, the siren finds the wedding ring and sort of fixates on that. And Fisher's not wearing his ring. Like if he was really missing his wife and be sort of emotional about it, he might be still wearing it. But instead he has taken it off and just buried her rather unceremoniously. So maybe he killed his wife and the siren saw them from the sea. And now the ring sort of acts as confirmation that maybe he really did it. And maybe it's not even the siren's call, that the lure that made him cross the line at the end. Maybe it's just all in his head and he just gives in to his obsessions. Now, obviously there's no right or wrong answer to these, and I don't really expect anyone to go so deep into a random Unreal short on YouTube. But these sort of layers, as a writer, are so much fun to work into the story for that added depth. Now, I've written some bad stories, some short films that weren't great. But that's how you learn. It's part of the process. Just do it. And what I really struggled with back in the day was like how much information to give away. I mean, I love mysteries, but I used to write such cryptic stories that no one could follow them. I learned this. You know your story, your audience doesn't. Don't assume anyone knows anything. So you have to give them a little bit more than you think. Enough breadcrumbs for them to be able to follow the story. But still leaving some things unsaid. That balance of clarity and mystery is something I wrestle with all of my stories. But little by little over time, you start to get a feel for it. I hope. Sometimes I know the ending first and have no clue about the beginning. But then I discover something about the character and that informs the beginning. And take that, what I learned there, and I just rewrite the ending to add more sort of depth and cohesiveness to the whole thing. And start connecting the dots little by little. And this one goes a little against my newfound philosophy of don't get it perfect, get it done. But for me, the story is not where you cut corners. Sure, later in your technical approach, you can maybe find some shortcuts, but the story is your foundation. You should not compromise there. Now, I don't pretend to be a masterful writer by any sense, but this is one thing that I've learned, and I think it's really worth mentioning. When you write a script, like the first draft for your story, try to then write a trailer to it. Try to imagine what kind of like story beats you need for a trailer. Because oftentimes you discover that you're missing a beat in your story. Like you're imagining your trailer, this happens and that happens, and then you would need like one line that summarizes this thing, and you don't have that line in your script. So then you go back and you add that into the script, and sometimes it just makes the script better by like thinking in this very short, condensed trailer format for a bit, and then applying those learnings into the actual script. Actually, it works very well with other stuff than just short films or films in general and trailers for them. It also works for your other content. If you're making a longer format video like maybe this, maybe after your first draft again with your ideas for your longer video, take your like 2 or 3 best like notions from that, best ideas from that, and then just like condense them into like a YouTube short. Try to have that message in a very compact package, and then use those and write your longer format video around those things. And you'll find that you may be getting a lot more said in a lot shorter time, and you get more content out of it almost for free. This is still something that I'm personally practicing and trying to routinely start doing. Maybe this is old news for some, but like, hey, if this made you think about it, like, oh yeah, that makes sense, then great, mission accomplished here. Quick note about what I refer to as symmetry in stories. The Craving starts with the man walking into a dark cabin, and it ends with the woman walking out of the same door into the light. But I really like these visuals as sort of like bookends for the story, and that sort of symmetry and little discoveries are where like they're so much fun for me personally. Ew, what a geek. After writing the story, I did a full technical breakdown. I listed everything like the characters, the sets and props, and the weather conditions, like everything that I needed to make or consider. For example, there are 2 characters, both which are indoors and outdoors, in the rain, wet, indoors, dry. They're active during the day and sleeping during the night, which means different outfits or different conditions, different version of the same character. And once you add it all up, it amounts to maybe a lot more work than you first thought it would. I don't like constricting myself by thinking, can this be done? When I'm writing the first draft of the story, I'll just put everything I envision in my head onto the page, and then later I go through it with more of the perspective of like, can this actually be pulled off? And then try to do smart choices of what to cut and what to keep. And to be completely honest, this was a risky first real project for me to tackle in Unreal. I went straight for the stormy seas and crashing waves. And also the story required the metahumans to emote and behave in a convincing way just through their eyes and facial expressions. Because there wasn't a whole lot of dialogue in the script. And not having a whole lot of dialogue, it wasn't really a conscious choice. It just the way the story came out very naturally. But I liked it. Silence can be powerful if done right. It doesn't have to be boring. I know it's not the current trend on anywhere on social media. Like you have to like spit out 1,000 words a second to keep everyone, entertained. This project wasn't really concerned with that. So yeah, don't be afraid of using silence as a tool when you're writing and making your own films. So when you're starting a project like this, it really is like standing at the base of the mountain looking up and feeling overwhelmed. But the trick is simple. Make a list and then just start executing that list, one thing after another, and you'll get there. I believe in you. Like a lot. You can do it. We can do it. And that's the first part of the breakdown series on the Craving short film. And next, we'll dive into asset prep. We'll look at props and location and metahumans and all that jazz. I'll see you then.